morning, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
And we're awake. It's been a weekend of rest. That's a lie. I played a lot of games over the weekend, but it was mostly restful after our 30-hour marathon. Hope you all enjoyed that. We did.
Yeah, it was fun.
We had a ton of fun.
Way fun.
Yeah, we were discussing. I think we had a good mix of games, really old stuff and really new stuff. One game that I'm sure that nobody in the room nor watching it ever heard of, the Schweinebande game.
Yeah, but I think Soup wasn't too far behind that either in a very old game.
That's true.
We were just playing a couple old things, right? But we also played some very hot new stuff, and then we played some stuff that was in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fun time, at least for us.
Well, technically, I mean, you guys played the oldest game, which was Cosmic.
That's true.
That's the oldest game there. Although technically, that's a 2008 version. So
when is Crokinole from? I'm gonna look that up.
1800s, maybe.
That tournament was pretty fun.
Yeah, so anyway, if you didn't get a chance, go ahead and watch it, but we will be splicing out each game individually so you can pick and choose which games you watch as time goes by.
1876.
1876. I thought I was really amused when some people watching Crokinole said it was a poor man's Carom.
Carom, yeah.
And I always thought Carom was a poor man's Crokinole. Like, that's definitely true, because when I was a kid, we had a Carom set. I know which one is the poor man's one, by which one I owned as a child.
As a child, yes.
Because my parents would not have spent a couple $100s on a Crokinole board.
Yeah.
But Carom, if you got it as a refund from refunding, my mom was a big refunder. Anything we had was free somehow.
Okay, so I played Carom, but I have no idea if I played it real or not because my mom always made up stuff.
Sure, and I don't know either, but it's the one with the nets in the corner.
The nets in the corners.
Yeah, the four-corner pockets.
Did you use checkers on it?
No, ours had rings.
Yeah,
okay.
It comes with the rings. Ours had the back side one side was a chessboard and the other side was a backgammon board.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
One of those,
And you could play
7-in-1s.
checkers. Chess, yeah.
We played it with checkers and window dowels. Like, we used window dowels as, like, pool cubes to slide it, yeah? Roy's nodding yes.
I have played that game, but for some reason I'm having flashbacks.
That's good times, good times.
Good times.
But we've upgraded to Crokinole.
We so fancy.
So that custom board you saw will be at Dice Tower East. Dice Tower East is coming your way, folks. 2 weeks from today, which is causing some stress on some of us.
2 weeks from Wednesday.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from Wednesday. For me, it's 2 weeks from today.
For us, we got to do the prepper,
That's
yes.
fair.
And in fact, if you're coming there early, let us know, because we can use help setting things up on Tuesday for sure, and possibly even Monday. Anyhow, Dice Tower East is sold out, so I apologize for those of you who can't make it. But if you are coming, we hope you get excited. We want to say thank you, as always, to our sponsors, Portal Games, our main sponsor, Board and Dice, Norse Foundry doing the VIP, and House Family Homestead, which I'm not saying they're my favorite sponsor, but freeze-dried candy. Come on now.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of things. We'll be talking more about that as we get closer. We have a sponsor of this particular episode, which you may have or may not have already seen, Forbidden Games.
Gotta remind you somehow.
No, I didn't forget. I'm just going in order here. We have a contest for their game Raccoon Tycoon, which is it's an amazing game.
Nice fan of Whiting.
Thank you, thank you.
You know, I was always disappointed at the end. She just went up and touched the letters.
Because they were like video screens?
Rather than spinning them. So I was like, why are you there at
She
this
didn't even
point?
need to touch them because someone else was pushing the button.
In fact, you could see before she touched it, it would blink.
Yeah.
That just takes me out of the whole game.
Yeah. Suspension of disbelief.
Gone. Technology.
What's the contest?
The contest is for... actually, the contest is not for Raccoon Tycoon. That's the game we're showing off. The contest is for Lizard Wizard, which is a sequel to Raccoon Tycoon. They're both very similar. Raccoon Tycoon is kind of a Victorian animals dressed up in Victorian garb, and you're building railroads. Lizard Wizard, you have animals dressed up in wizard garb, and you're doing magic spells. Incidentally, both of them have the same artist, Annie Stagg. My question for this, which I did not ruin, is how many Forbidden Game titles has Annie Stagg done the art for? Just email us the answer at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word Astoria. What does that mean?
We are marching to Astoria, and that's Pretoria. Smothers Brothers. Old folk tune. I don't know.
I know a lot of old folk tunes, but I don't know that one. But all right, anyhow.
Age of Astoria. Age of Astoria.
That's a classic folk tune.
Yeah.
Next week, I'll be doing breakfast on my own. Anyhow, that's our contest. So I mentioned our contest. I mentioned Dice Tower East. We're back to like a normal week this week, although I got some stuff coming. We'll talk about that in a bit. Let's go to some contributors while I collect my thoughts.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today, you guys, we were talking about Wingspan. Now, we're a little bit late to the party on this one.
We're a lot late to the party.
This game has been making their rounds for a little while now, and it is immensely popular amongst board gamers, amongst people who are bird watchers, casual gamers, strategy gamers, all kinds of people, because it is just such a unique game. It has the engine building, it has wonderful art, wonderful components, and it has kind of just transcended all that because of all the different bridges that it gaps.
So as you guys like to know, Ryan and I like to talk about things that we're doing to try and achieve better health in our lives, and I know I talk about this all the time, but it's just a really big passion of mine, and it's so important to just be outside. And Wingspan reminds me of that because there was specifically, the girls and I were hiking, and we saw a bird that I'd never seen before, and I saw the bird in the first game that we played. It was a rose-crested grosbeak, and it was just so cool to see something I've never seen before, and I wouldn't have seen it if I was inside.
Except for the game itself.
Well, yeah, except for the game itself.
But yeah, you guys, this has such a smooth engine building system. You're playing on these birds in order to kind of upgrade individual actions. And there's individual actions that kind of all rotate in and out of one another. So you need, let's say, this might be a little bit wrong, but you need food in order to get eggs. You need eggs in order to get cards. You need cards in order to get food, and it kind of cycles through like that, and it's just a very, very smooth system. You're building up these birds, unlocking more and more special abilities as the game goes on, and it just looks so cool.
This game makes you feel amazing for just doing what the game wants you to do. Like Ryan said, you're just doing what the game wants you to do, and you're like, look how awesome I am at this game. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's been able to reach so many people.
You guys, this is a fun one. Let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Have you played Wingspan? Are you late to the party like us and you haven't played it yet? Let us know.
Don't forget to find us on YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan and Bethany, hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye everybody.
Guys.
Hey, board gamers. BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back on the breakfast, talking about one of my favorite genres of games, train games, the lighter weight version. Today I'm looking at Maglev Metro from Bezier Games. It caught my eye because I grew fascinated as a kid by the Mark IV monorails at Walt Disney World. The idea of building sleek, futuristic transportation has always appealed to me. Maglev Metros is a game from Bezier where each player competes to build out the most efficient maglev transportation system for the humans and robots who use them. Yep, we are combining Isaac Asimov and Roger Brogy in the same game. Each player has their own player board filled with all the action spots in the game, plus a ton of spots to upgrade your actions. Filling in the passenger side of the board gets you points per passenger, depending on the color, but also lets you score for the end of the game bonus cards. But the real star, the production of the main game board. The base game comes with a Berlin map and a Manhattan map, and each comes with their own challenges and strategies. We love the way that the tracks are built out with these clear acrylic tiles that allow all four players to connect without any jumbling. It's really ingenious. And there's some lanyap we weren't even expecting. Sure, there's plenty of wooden meeples representing your passengers and the obligatory dual-layered boards, but how about those maglevs themselves? They're cool little metal pieces that hold your passengers. It almost looks like a daylight version of Space Mountain. So that's Maglev Metro, out from Bezier Games right now. It's a unique twist on a route building game with a futuristic theme that I really love. Plus, it's infinitely expandable, and there's already a bunch of maps on the way from different cities. Check it out if you like some of those lighter weight train games and you kind of want to step up from Ticket to Ride or Spike or something like that. Until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Hey everybody, today we're taking a look at a game from 20 years ago, and that game is Odin's Ravens.
One I've still meant to play. I haven't played a lot of these, the Cosmos two-player games, but I'd like to. Should get around to that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. This one for me, I give it a 7.5. So I still like the game, although I wonder if I would like it as much going back at it. Nope, never mind. The re-implementation, I gave a 6 to, so it obviously dropped down.
Oh, okay.
So Odin's Ravens was it's a racing game in which you are racing these two ravens down these terrains. And so you play terrain cards, and then you can move on the net. You have to have that correct terrain to move on that card. But if there's like 3 of the same terrain in a row, you fly through it. And then you have things that let you rotate cards and switch cards so that you're trying to make a big path on your side and screw your opponent over in their path. That's it.
What does that have to do with Odin?
He's the guy who owns the Ravens.
Well, clearly.
Because
So-
Odin and Ravens notoriously race against each other in opposite formation
They might. Actually, I think he went to the end and came back.
or something like that.
I don't know the Raven lore, so
The
clearly lacking.
Raven Law. Anyhow, you guys can tell Roy is on camera today. So anyway, Odin's Ravens it's a fine game. I think it's interesting, and I don't know that it's held up over time. For me, it's an okay game. There was a Kickstarter for Odin's Ravens. I don't know if you remember this, where they kickstarted it, and then the guy just stole everyone's money and ran away.
Whoa.
I have heard that, yeah.
And then someone else picked it up. The re-implementation was, who was that again? It's Osprey. Osprey picked it up and did it. And I think I don't remember if they covered the Kickstarter backers or not, but I don't know that people are still yelling about it. So, man, it's weird to think this one came out 20 years ago. Z Garcia reviewed the reprint 6 years ago. That's when it came out, 2015. And my original review of it was, I don't even know if it's on here. Maybe I never reviewed it. What? All right. Well, it's time to fix that at some point.
Ferb, I know what we're doing today.
Interesting. What would you recommend from the Cosmos 2-player line?
Well, Lost Cities, obviously.
Lost Cities, sure.
Lost Cities is
I
the
like that
king.
one.
Starship Catan is the most complicated of them, but I like that one a lot.
Okay.
Babel, if you want to punch the other person in the face, it's the meanest of all of them.
Probably not.
It's really mean. First time I played it, I almost quit. I was so mad. Because you do these things and you're building ziggurats, and then if you have a handful of cards, you need to get cards to do anything. And my opponent just kept beating me. I was like, fine, I'll build a handful of cards. And he did something that made me lose half the cards in my hand. I was like, I did not know that was a rule. Now that once you know it, you're ready, because then you're ducking and weaving. And I really like it, but you have to go in knowing what the game is.
Knowing that you're going to get punched and do punching.
That right. Odin's Ravens is fine. Heave Ho, but Heave Ho's really silly.
Okay.
There's a few other good ones in the line that I'm forget. Oh, Targi. Come on now.
Targi, okay.
We've done Target. Okay.
Yeah, Targi. Obviously.
That's funny, because I like Lost Cities more than you, and you like Targi more than me.
That's true, yeah.
Those are the two we've played.
Targi is the best in that line. Oh, and Jambo. Jambo's really good.
Oh, that's one
A
we
two-player trading game. So, Asante. Then there's some really terrible games in the line, too. Crocodile Pool Party.
That sounds delightful.
Sounds great.
It's
Sounds like a very
so
Florida
bad.
game.
It's one of the first ones I ever gave out. Oh yeah, for a while that was known as the game Tom Basil hates. Nowadays, there's a lot of joint recipients of that award. Anyhow, Odin's Ravens, if you find this, it's definitely worth checking out, hunting down to get a copy of it. The new version from Osprey, of course, is beautiful, because Osprey Games looks great. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment From the Page to the Table, where I pair books and board games together. Today I'm joined by the bestest bunny of all time, Matt, the dice checker, who's taking over my segment.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about a graphic novel. I do not have the graphic novel in hand because I read it on the iPad. So I'm going to be talking about Dark Knight Returns. This is the Frank Miller four-episode series, which has kind of grown from there as well. But today we're just talking about the first one. This is a story about Batman kind of coming back and handling some issues in Gotham and then facing off against some other forces. I'm not going to say much more about it in case you haven't read it before. But the reason I'm talking about it is because I'm going to be taking a look at Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the board game. This is from Cryptozoic.
It's a chonky box.
It's a chonky box. Make sure I get this right. Designed by Daryl Andrews and Morgan Donville. This is labeled as 1 to 2 players, but when you really get down to it, it is a solo experience. And there are 2-player rules. So you are actually moving through the 4 issues of the comic book. And it says 4 books in here, but I called them 4 issues, and you have different setups. And the really neat thing about this is you're writing things down on the board. It tells you this is how you need to separate out certain threats that are coming, and you get to separate them out based on the on the amount that the game gives you. Almost feel like I was playing through the book, but at the same time, I also felt like there was a way for me to lose. It didn't feel like one of those scripted games where you're just playing through books or movies. This is the end of From the Page to the Table. Bye, everybody.
We'll see you next time, folks.
Hello everyone, how you doing? I'm Clara and I'm back talking about board games, digital versus physical, and today, well, it's K2, as you can tell by the game behind me, and I have a physical copy, but only recently. So this is a game that I've played a lot on Board Game Arena, and I'll be honest, I was attracted because of the theme. I enjoy climbing and hiking, and whilst I probably am not in any state to be able to go up K2, there is a part of me that kind of wants to do it. So K2, for those of you that don't know, is one of the highest mountains in the world, in fact second only to Everest, and some of the expansions include Lhotse and Broad Peak, which are also very high mountains as well. And it's a really interesting game. You control two mountaineers and you're moving them up the mountain, and the further up the mountain they get, they score you more points, assuming that they stay alive. But other people may end up getting in the way because certain areas of the pass are, very narrow, so you can't get past each other. And you play and move by each player has their own deck of cards, so the decks are identical, but you have to manage your deck, and you go through the deck 3 times, I believe. And then you've got to acclimatize. Some higher up ones are just going to be bad for your health, so you lose points every time, whereas at the lower down you acclimatize. You can play acclimatization cards to gain your health, and you've just got to balance keeping the players alive. I'll be honest, I've only kept both of my people alive once in all the games that I've played, and to be honest, I don't keep one of them alive very often, so I usually do really badly. Now, this is a game that I really enjoy playing on Board Game Arena, but I just, because of my love and my affinity with the theme, I wanted to get a copy, and so when I saw the big box was coming out, which also includes the 3 expansions, which aren't on Board Game Arena, I had to pick it up, basically. So I'd say that I really enjoy playing this on Board Game Arena, but it's really lovely to have the physical copy in my collection. For me, personally, highly recommend it. K2. Until next time, I'm Cloud Barker, and take care and bye-bye.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well,
all good stuff.
We can hope. At 9 today, Z's doing another, or not 9, 10. Sorry, at 10. Yes. In 42 minutes, Z's doing a What's Happening. I'm going. Oh, he's doing Cartographers. It says it right here.
Oh, okay.
We were just talking about Cartographers this morning. Oh, that's because our promos came in for the Dice Tower. And I'm doing a Q&A at noon. So that's the live stuff going on today. Tomorrow is our last Marbles of the Summer called Catapult Killers. I just need to remember to bring that game in. Chris and Wendy are reviewing Tidal Blade's Banner Festival. You are?
We are.
We are.
All right. Well, we'll see.
We have opinions about stuff and things.
Okay, so other reviews are going up this week. Some of the bigger reviews, I'm taking a look at Paint the Roses, Carnegie, and Space Station Phoenix, which was one of the games we played live. Some of our live stuff from the 24-hour marathon will be going up. We have a Foursquare's review of Monsters on Board, which I was not invited to play because it looks fun with monsters. But
our daughter even played this. Actually, I haven't played it yet.
And we have a top 10 going up on Thursday of dice used in interesting ways.
It was the family mode, not the full version.
That's true.
We also have a live play happening on Friday, which we will announce what the live play is tomorrow. But I think you will want to be there for that one. And that looks like what's coming from us this week.
Well, I think they're on the edge of their seats.
Woot.
The city guard is powerless. Thankfully, in Gloomhaven, salvation has a price.
Assalamu alaikum. Are you one of those travelers that takes notes of every gold piece that they get on their travels? Do they want to really track every event that they went through? They want to keep a diary of every monster they killed? Then look no further. If these dinky scored notepads for tracking your stats for your characters is not going to be good enough, and you have to scratch each time that what's the XP for your character, then there is a gloomified extended character sheets available on the BGG file section. Now, what this lets you do is track which battle goals were there for each and every mission, how many gold did you spend for buying item inventory, and even for inventory, what's in your hand, what's in your, what helmet did you buy. So it lets you track each and everything, the monster levels that you killed. And beautiful of all, it comes in a letter-sized paper so that it can be stored without folding in the original box. So if you're looking for more extended tracking of what you were doing in Gloomhaven without scratching through on the tiny notepads that come with the game, then get the gloomified extended character sheets from the BGG file section. That's it for me. Happy gaming.
And that's why the Yees are wrong. We'll talk more about that later. All right. Anyway.
I hear that often enough.
Well, at least you're together.
Are we changing Tom Thinks? Because this Tom thinks the Yees are always wrong.
This last week, really, really big news. We'll talk more about this on Thursday. BackerKit is getting into the crowdfunding arena, which is a surprise to everyone. I mean, maybe, well, not everyone. I guess some people knew about it. A lot of publishers knew about it. But this is one of those times where I didn't even have a hint this was happening.
Right. Specifically, that BackerKit's going to become its own crowdfunding platform.
They're already doing their BackerKit.
Yeah. They've become ubiquitous for that post-Kickstarter thing.
Well, Pledge Manager is used a lot, right? That's what we use. But I was saying BackerKit for a while. There was BackerKit, CrowdOx, GameFound were the big three, and then the CMON one that they ran on their own, which was terrible. BackerKit bought CrowdOx last year, I think. And I always said that Kickstarter should buy BackerKit. Well, BackerKit's like, nah, we'll make our own Kickstarter. So that's happening. Anyway, we'll talk more about that in the news. But I'm excited about this because I think it's good for competition. I think it's good to have multiple things out there. Every time someone starts a competing anything, everyone's like, why do we need it? We already have a good thing in existence. But I think having competition makes you better. You know, I want people to watch the Dice Tower more than they watch other board game shows.
Yeah, selfishly, absolutely.
Any board game content creator who tells you otherwise, I feel it's being disingenuous, really. Because you do want people to watch you. You know, it's been said in the past, it's been said by, you know, people who've been on the Dice Tower shows, that there's really not competition between board game publishers. That's completely false. Because you can be friends with publishers, you can be friends amongst each other, but at the end of the day, if I have $50 and I'm a publisher, if Chris has $50, I want him to buy my game, not the other person's game. Now, if you bought both, I would be fine with that. I would be even more happy if you bought 2 copies of mine. And again, I think it's really weird when we pretend that stuff's not true. Now, competition doesn't mean you have to get in the other person's face and do dirty tricks and say negative ads and all that stuff. But at the same time, I think competition's great for the hobby. I think it's great in gaming to see games that are very similar, made from different publishers, and they push each other. Hey, we upped this, we made this better, we did that. I think it's great in crowd surfing because I think that's just good. I mean, GameFound itself, it wasn't until GameFound came around that Kickstarter added the fact that you can put add-ons to your pledge in there. That's straight up because GameFound pushed them to do that.
Sure.
And BackerKit's probably going to be pretty spectacular. They got some really big publishers on board: Cephalofair, Restoration Games, Leader Games.
Their list is really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, now, are they going to be the best? I don't know. They're not really showing what it's going to look like.
You'd hope from as cool as it is that there's big publishers and stuff, you would hope that when you go to a page, it is extremely user-friendly. That's one of the biggest things that I would hope for, right? Because when you look at the comparison between a Kickstarter page and a GameFound page, I can tell which one is the newer product, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so hopefully there's some new innovations. Hopefully there's something that other platforms look at and go, That's actually a pretty good idea. Maybe we can kind of try to step up. We can try and do better.
Which I think goes to your point of competition is good because it prevents stagnation.
I agree.
It prevents things just staying the same way they've always been.
Because you get complacent. Now, someone in the chat there, Hannah, mentions that competition is better for the consumer. Sure. Because the more competition, the more I have. If there's a monopoly on, say, Apple computers, they can charge whatever they want. They're still competing with
other computers.
But there are sometimes I've seen a lack of competition in some fields, different things, and you're like, How do you feel about it as the people? Well, it's kind of weird because as a content creator, we are in competition with the other content creators. Again, it's disingenuous to say other than that. We can be friends with them and we get along with them, but again, if you're going to watch one video, we hope it's ours. But we can be friendly with them and still compete in a friendly manner. And for me, I like competition because I think it pushes us. I would hope that if you go back and watch Dice Tower over the past 10 years, you've seen growth and change. And part of that is because I look and say, well, they're doing that better than we are. There's many of our competitors are doing many things better than we are. But I mean, let's call a spade a spade. That's the way it is. So we said, okay, those are our weak areas. Let's improve on them. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the reasons we're building a whole new studio.
Right, and we're going to do an overhaul. People, still mention things like the audio, like the microphones were not the highest quality and stuff. But we've had these microphones for a while, and we're going to do a major overhaul on them rather than try and do like a small little change every 6 months, because that does less. It's less effective and also more expensive to keep changing little things. So, I'm curious to see in a similar way with this new crowdfunding platform. This is going to be kind of like a huge overhaul, and I wonder what ripples you're going to see from this as well for the hobby.
Yeah.
Hopefully good stuff.
And I saw that one person, Richard, says now I have to keep track of 3 crowdfunding sites. Oh, well, I don't look at that as a bad thing. Because the lack of that, when everything's on one, as somebody who uses Kickstarter for our own thing, Kickstarter got very complacent. They're not the best company to work with. They don't need to do anything. So yeah, I only need to do one thing, but it's good to have that push. We have almost a virtual monopoly when it comes to where to go for board game information, Board Game Geek. But other things popped up, whether it be Reddit or other sites. I don't think that's a bad thing to have that competition. You can still have your favorite. You can still say something's the best, and we will say something's the best. We'll say these games are better than other games. But I'm a big believer in it. I think it's good for everyone involved. It kind of sucks if you get beat out by the competition. Companies go out of business because
they don't keep innovating. They don't keep growing and changing.
Well, you can innovate and still lose.
Sure, that's fair too.
Sometimes the other people did it better, or they did what people wanted.
I wonder if verbiage-wise, if Kickstarter will continue to be the crowdfunding word, kind of like the tissue Kleenex thing.
The Kleenex thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Zamboni, Zamboni's the name brand, not the name of that type of machine.
What's the name of that type of machine?
I don't know. Ice cleaner, ring-a-dingy.
Does somebody else make them?
Apparently.
Huh. Well, yes. I mean, I get that, and right. That's Kleenex was there for a while. Macadam.
iPhone. People still call cell phones iPhones.
Do they?
Yeah.
Even if they don't have one? I think you get corrected on that one.
Or iPads.
Well,
I hear kids say that all the time.
Oh, people do say. I think
maybe iPads
is,
more than phones.
Yeah, iPad is ubiquitous for any sort of tablet, basically.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan says, I disagree. Dice Tower barely has competition in terms of quality and content. Well, it's very, very nice of you to say, but it's quite not true. Okay? We have many great competitors, and again, for the vast majority of them, like I just talked to one of them yesterday for a while. We get along with each other, but I like that we push each other because I think that's good for the hobby. I think it's good for this. So that's what I think about competition.
皆さん、おはようございます and welcome to the Board Game Dojo's Import or Not series, where we cover games from Asia and let you know if they're worth your hard-earned money to import or not. Today, we are covering an area majority game from Japan that comes in a small box and plays in only 20 to 30 minutes. This is Rumble Nation. There are a lot of things praiseworthy about Rumble Nation, like how the map locations change every time, or how troops are deployed by rolling 3 dice, where 2 of them decide location, and 1 of them decides how many troops you get to put out. But the best part to me is how battles are done, because when you win an area, you get to deploy reinforcements to any adjacent space you also have troops in. Battles are also done in order from lowest to highest. So, for example, take a look at 3. Red is sitting there cocky because they are beating me 2-1 right now. But 2 gets done first, and as you can see, I beat blue, so I get to deploy reinforcements to 3, and I get to deploy reinforcements to 10 later because I have troops there. Now, when we do 3, red is going to lose because now I have 3, and red only has 2. This game ends up feeling like one of those wind-up toys I used to play with when I was a kid, where if you overwound it or underwound it, it would go nowhere and you would be left there in disappointment. But if you wound it up just perfectly, it would fly off successfully. And what this does, in addition to the variable maps and the different troop powers that you can get throughout the game, is it does what a lot of really good card games end up doing, where it says it's only 20 or 30 minutes, but you end up playing it for like 1 or 2 hours because you keep wanting to try to do better and better, try again, and wind it up better the next time. And one of the best parts is that right now it's on sale on Amazon Japan, so it only costs you $35 US to import it to the United States. An absolute steal for this wonderful game, and what we think is an essential in any board game collection. Thank you so much for joining us today. 明日ご飯楽しんでね。さようなら.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the mechanisms and the IP match. Today, we're going to be looking at the Heinz Ketchup game. So let me show you how it plays, and I'll come back and tell you what I think. To play Ketchup dice game is real easy. You're going to roll all the dice. You get 2 re-rolls. For every ketchup that you have is worth 1 point. If you get the bottle of ketchup, that's an additional 5 points. If you roll all 5 ketchups, you get a bonus of 5 points. If you roll all mustard or all sweet relish, it's minus 10 points. If you get the Heinz 57 logo, then you can always do a re-roll. Person that gets closest to 57 points is the winner. You can drop out at any time and hold your points, but if you go over 57, you bust. You were probably thinking, how did they create a game based on Heinz Ketchup? I was thinking the same thing, and it's a total miss here. So this is more about the labels of the ketchup, and you want to get as many of the label ketchups to get 57, because 57 is not a ketchup. Heinz 57 is more like a steak sauce, but you want to get that many points because it's clever, because it's owned by Heinz. But you don't want to collect mustard and sweet relish of Heinz, because I guess that's not good, so don't purchase that product. I don't get the connection here why you're not trying to get that. But for ketchup lovers, you're trying to collect ketchup labels and score the most points. If none of this makes sense to you, it's because none of this should have ever been created. It doesn't make sense to me. So as the IP and the mechanisms, they do not match at all, but I don't know how else you would have created a game based on Heinz Ketchup. Doesn't make any sense. They used to have a saying that said, it's worth the wait. It is not worth the wait here. Pass this one on by. It is absolute garbage.
Okay, seriously, Roy, that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
Mike's not here. I don't know.
Mike's not here. It was great.
So-
I am grateful that Roy did all that. That was wonderful. Anyways, so I'm going to review Assassin's Creed Odyssey today. I finished the main storyline of this very open world game about a month ago, and then I stepped away for about a month, and I replayed it again this weekend. And I just really like this game. There's so much awesomeness to it. So the main storyline is this weird family dynamic of you're fighting against your brother that you've never met but maybe did as a baby. Weird stuff. There's like...
Sounds like a Greek epic.
Yeah, there's like mythical lore. And you're like, is this real? Is magic real? I don't know if magic's real. I don't know if it's not. But I don't know, it's just very cool. I enjoy the storyline, and I really appreciate the decisions that you get to make. I don't know, I felt like maybe it's been so long since I played Elder Sign, but I felt like... Not Elder Sign, Elder Scrolls. What's the Skyrim? There we go.
Skyrim, yeah, and Breath of the Wild, the other open world games
so
you played.
I feel like other open world games that I've played that have had storylines, I feel like the decisions haven't been as meaningful. So in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, whenever the text turns yellow, you know that you're making a decision that's going to affect future things. And especially if it's in the main storyline, there's decisions like, do I want to keep this child alive that has a disease, or do I want to go ahead and let this child be killed by someone else? And, you know, is that disease then going to spread to a huge part of the world, or am I stopping it now, but I'm not saving that child's life? Like, there's very interesting decisions, and I know that's kind of like a very emotional one. But the decisions matter later on.
That's what I'm hearing.
No, you're just whether or not you're going to save that child from weirdies. But it's fascinating how those decisions matter later. Is someone going to trust me or not trust me based on what I did 4 things ago, 4 chapters ago in the storyline? A lot of that stuff really matters. So I find the storyline interesting, and coming back to it after finishing that main storyline, I went back and I did some other quests because it's open world and there's a bajillion things to do. And I played for like 4 hours, and I just did one other side storyline, and it was so interesting, and there were still good decisions and things. I was trying to uncover secrets, and I had to go around and talk to a lot of people and figure out stuff so that I could eventually finish and find this evil cultist or whatever and make it happen. And I loved it. I love the story, and I find it more interesting than Fallout and Elder Skyrim Scrolls. Yeah, and so and Zelda, like I really enjoyed Zelda, and I enjoyed a lot of those other ones, but there's just something about this that just, I don't know, I just really appreciate the story.
Side missions and things?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's super open world. I could play this for another decade probably and never see everything as open worlds are. But
decade?
Maybe not a decade. It depends on how often
you're playing once a month?
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, when Wendy said she played 4 hours on Saturday or whatever.
I like binge and then I don't play again for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm curious, I just looked up on here because I know it's made by the same company who made Immortals Phoenix Rising, which I love. And it's I think it uses the same engine. But I don't know that I could go back. I liked Immortal Phoenix Rising a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could go back to Assassin's Creed's more about stealth.
Yeah, there's a lot of tactical stuff.
I want to walk up and punch people in the face. I don't want to be stealthy. I want you to know I'm coming.
Yeah. See, and that's what I enjoy about it is that the NPCs level up with you, and so I can't just bust into this military fort and just slaughter 80 people, or not 80, let's say 20.
But that's what I want to do.
That's what you want to do?
I do.
You can't just do that. You have to tactically come in, and you have to say, how can I assassinate this guy? How can I get around here so that no one sees me, no one hears me? And if they do, make sure it's only like 3 people and that no one sets off the beacon so that more dudes come. Like I enjoy that because I don't know, with Skyrim, for example, I feel like once you get past a certain level, you can just slaughter everybody and it's not even a challenge anymore.
There's the joke, right, that your sneak is so high, you walk, you're standing right next to someone.
And they're like, huh? Is someone here?
There's someone there?
Huh?
I never got my sneak high in Skyrim.
I snuck
Skyrim is moddable. So I found that even when I get very high level, you can mod it to make it very difficult enemies around.
That's fair. I've never done that particularly. But yeah, I enjoy the tactical nature. I enjoy that you can spend time on the ocean in a ship doing ocean battles and all this ocean exploration, all these things out there, but then you can hop back to the land and you can do this and that. You can craft your armor, make it bigger, better, awesome, and I don't know, there's just really good stuff in it. I'm very happy with it.
Where's Breath of the Wild 2, by the way? Come on now.
Seriously, let's get on that.
I know. That's probably the only open world game I'll play. I know that there's such time sinks that they sound awesome. They sound so cool. But I just have a soft spot for Zelda, so I'll just wait until that next one comes out.
Chris would rather play a solo board game than a video game. Most of the time, I feel like.
I don't know.
Ooh, that would be an interesting poll. I would always pick a video game over, I shouldn't say always, but almost always. I did play a solo
I would always
weekend.
pick a video game over it. But yeah.
Because I bet Mike would pick the board game.
Yeah?
What would you pick, Roy?
Video game or board game, solo?
Depends on if it's Marvel Champions or not.
Right.
All right, well, that's what I think about Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to talk about Teddy's Colors and Shapes, which is another game my toddler likes playing. So I had gotten this game a while ago, and my kids didn't really have much interest in playing it by the rules, and they had started playing other games, and I thought maybe they had outgrown this, because all it involves is these 4 boards with cutout shapes, these wooden pieces of different shapes and colors, and you're supposed to roll a die. There's 2 modes, either shape or color mode. So you roll the shape die or the color die, depending on what mode you're playing, and then find a matching shape or color and put it into the spot. So it's basically just like matching shapes and colors to the slots, kind of like a really easy puzzle. So as my kids were playing other board games, I thought they had outgrown this one. But recently I just asked one of my kids if he wanted to play Teddy's Colors and Shapes, and so he brought it out and I told him the actual rules of the game, which is you take turns, you roll the die, get the color piece and put it in, and he really loved it. So now that he's old enough to actually like take turns and know how to play a game by the rules, he could play it by himself, and he played with me, and he was taking turns really well, rolling the die, getting super excited whenever he put a piece in right. And then also on the die, there's one side that's a bear, and that means you get to say, "Happy birthday, Teddy," because like, I guess the theme is there's this Teddy's birthday party. So he really liked doing that. He would sing the happy birthday song. But I totally was not expecting this, and he actually asked to play it over and over again, and we played it 6 times in a row, and he kept saying more even after that. But on the 5th and 6th play, he was starting to get kind of distracted and doing other things during the game, so I actually had to stop him from playing more after the 6th game, even though he kept asking for more. So even though I didn't think much of this game, it's really great for my toddler, and it was really great just seeing him have so much fun playing it and be so excited to play it over and over again. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye.
Hi, I'm Jordan, and I know a lot of folks really enjoy mystery type of games, you know, the time stories games, or you know, even escape room type games where you're trying to solve something. And a very popular series of that is Chronicles of Crime. And I would say one of my favorite sets, if not my favorite set to come from that, is the 2400, you know, 2400, that's a year. This is a kind of a cyberpunk futuristic setting of these, and it's part of that Millennium series where they had, what was it, 1400, 1900, 2400, something like that. And so this 2400 one has that futuristic feel to it, and it works really well. It gives, you know, I would say the cases aren't necessarily super unique to that time frame. You know, it has some dealings of drugs and crime and things like that, some kind of underground crime rings and things that you're trying to expose. But what this one does interesting is it's going to have you being able to shift from reality into kind of the cyberspace where you don't know. Everybody's using avatars in cyberspace, so you don't know who's giving you the information, who you can trust, who you can't trust, who is who, because the people you're meeting in the cyberspace are also the people you're meeting in the reality, and so you don't know who is who. And I think that extra wrinkle is really interesting. I think it works really well here. I think this is a great kind of take on that Chronicles of Crime system with just a little bit of wrinkles, and I really enjoy this one. I think this is a standalone game. You don't need the other ones to play, and it's a good one. Even if you're new to the system, you probably won't know, you won't know any different. It's not too much more difficult than other ones. But Chronicles of Crime 2400, it's a good one. It's a little long for a weeknight, but it's still great. I'm Jordan. Thanks.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Thanks so much for everybody for joining us. We'll see many of you in 2 weeks, and some of you will see in 18 minutes because Z's doing What's Happening.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee, and I just bumped my elbow.
Good job.
Have fun. Hitting your funny bone.
Not so funny.
Hilarious.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.